Good morning, and to some of you, probably good afternoon. Brothers and sisters in Chungdong English Ministry, I really wanted to meet with you face to face by this time, but unfortunately, COVID-19 is still preventing that. Until we meet again, I hope all of you stay healthy and safe. If you are from abroad or if you have an experience of living abroad, you must understand how it is more difficult to encounter this kind of situation in a foreign land where and this situation is at the time that a global crisis is taking place, yet the families are apart. For those who are currently apart from your family members, I pray that God gives you and your family the strong faith in one another. I also want to send my blessings and prayers to everyone for their well-being and safety, including yourself, your family and friends, all people in Korea, all people in your home country, and people in all other nations, especially those in the countries whose medical or political systems are not strong enough or just enough to respond to the current situation successfully. Dear God, stop this suffering and grant mercy and care for everyone affected. The message I want to share with you today is a very simple one. Save souls. Save souls. Please become people who save many souls in the world. Some of you may be wondering, what does this preacher mean by saving souls? You may also ask, is it my job to save souls? Or you may ask, why should I save souls? Or didn't our God save souls? Some of you may also ask, haven't we done our best to convert others to Christianity? All these questions are valuable and appropriate. So throughout the message that follows below, I'd like to answer those questions as much as possible and provide more explanations about what I mean by saving souls and why I am telling you this today. First of all, by saying save souls, I like to say that I don't necessarily mean that you need to convert many other into Christian. For some Christians, saving a soul refers to a very particular thing. Teaching someone about what Jesus has done and encouraging the person to accept Jesus as the Lord and Savior and make the person explicitly confess it, probably in front of people, at least out loud. However, I am trying to convey a more universal message by saying saving a soul. By this I mean helping someone who is especially in need to have a better life. It means helping the person get out of his or her state of hopelessness, breakdown, self-disappointment, self-loathing, hardship, and misery. By saving souls, I mean giving those people power to stand up again and live again with new hope, with new energy, with new vision. It means helping them move a little bit further from despair towards a hope, from suffering to well-being, from oppression to liberation, and from death to life. This is what I mean by saving souls today. I don't want to tell you save souls as an imperative. Of course, I believe that this mission must be the mission of Christians and all other human beings, but I like to express it today as a plea. This is a plea. I beg you, please think about this message seriously. And if you will, please commit yourself to saving souls in this world. At least don't be a person who lives only for themselves and their own family, for their own success. Instead, live for others and see what you can do for our own local and global communities. I make this plea because we, all human beings, need such people desperately. We need a lot of them because there are so many people who need someone else's help to survive. At this very moment, there are many people who have reached their limit and feel as if they can't make it any further in life, financially, mentally, or perhaps physically, without some kind of help from another person. At this very moment, there are many people who are so frustrated with their situation, who think that their life is so worthless, meaningless, and pointless that they want to give up their life. As you may know, the rate of suicide in Korea is the 10th highest in the globe, and the first or second highest among OECD countries, the leading countries in the world. More than 34 people in Korea commit suicide every day. Every day. Due to shame, failure, financial crisis, relationship pressures, false charges, bullying, etc., etc. People choose to kill themselves. Among people of every age and gender, suicide is the 4th highest cause of death in Korea, and the leading cause of death for young people aged between 10 to 39. I was so surprised to see these numbers. This is just one of the examples that show how desperately the world needs someone who is committed to helping others. Such needs are everywhere in the world. Save souls. This is my plea and also a prayer. I pray for you and all other Christians, as well as all humanity, to be people who are committed to helping the needy, touching their hearts and reviving their souls, just as King David wanted for his son Solomon. In Psalm 72, King David prayed to God for his son Solomon. He wanted his son Solomon to be a person who delivered the needy when they called, the poor and those who had no helper. David wanted Solomon to be a king who had pity on the weak and the needy and saved the lives of the needy. And he wanted him to be a king who redeemed those people from oppression and violation. In other words, David wanted someone to be a person who had heart for the work of saving souls. I pray for all people to have this mission in mind, like David prayed for Solomon. I especially hope that Christians see their primary mission not necessarily as making more conversions. Stop focusing on identity change. That is important, but see our primary mission as saving people who are dying from so many sufferings and despair. A French Catholic priest, Abbé Pierre, reminds us of the meaninglessness of having Christian identity without the essence of Christian faith, that is love. He says, I am sure there is no fundamental distinction between a believer and a non-believer. There is only a distinction between a person who turns his head in front of someone else's suffering and a person who fights to save others from suffering. And there is only a distinction between a person who loves and who refuses to love. I fully agree with him. I'm sure that it is not enough to be called Christian. What is important is whether we act like Christian or not. As Pierre indicates, what we need is love, compassion, empathy, and action. The first thing Christians should say in the street might be, "Do you need any help?" Rather than, "Come to church, join our church." For Christians today, this is my prayer. Lord, may you grant us love, compassion, and empathy so we can take care of the needy when they call, the poor and those who have no helper. Let us have pity on the weak and the needy and save their lives by giving them hope and comfort, standing by with them. Use us to redeem those people from oppression and violence. It is no doubt that for Jesus, the ministry of saving souls was very important. Of course, Jesus saved all of our souls by his own death and resurrection. However, in his daily ministry on earth, he also saved so many people, so many souls who are crying, suffering, and literally dying. He spent most of his time and energy to help and therefore revive the souls of the weak, vulnerable, socially marginalized, demon-possessed, and physically disabled people whom society had forced to live as if they were dead. He met many people. One of them was a Samaritan woman at the well, as you know, who was socially stigmatized, so had to come out to draw water when no one's out in public. And he met a woman who was suffering from bleeding for 12 years without knowing reasons. He met also a man lying near a pond, who has been sick for 38 years, hopelessly waiting for someone to come and help him to go down to the water when the water is stirred by the angel. He met with those who were blind, deaf, and bullied. He met with prostitutes, victims of violence, those suffering from leprosy, the paralyzed, the mentally ill, and revived tax collectors. They were mostly those who were disdained and avoided in Jewish society then. They were disdained and avoided because of their ethnicity, their illness, their social status, stigmatization, the Jewish law, traditions, prejudice, and different kinds of phobias. Those weren't their faults. So Jesus took a different approach to them. He came close to them, ate with them, talked with them, and told them, "You are fine. You are my friends." Rather than saying, "You need to repeat after me. I accept you as my Lord, repeat after me." He never said that to those people. Instead, he said, "Go in peace. Your faith saved you. Serve others." And sent the person on their way back to their family and their community. Saving souls like Jesus, therefore, must be our primary mission. By death and resurrection, he has saved the souls of all humanity eternally. However, he also left a homework for us, something we should do while we're living here, before we go to Christ. That is the ministry of saving souls on earth. He said, "Love your neighbor." He said, helping the needy and mourn with those who mourn until we finish our life on earth. His commandment to love your neighbor is an invitation from Jesus. It seems that he says, "Come, join me. You can do what I do. Save others, serve others." That's how we all live together. That's how we all survive this world together. So many people are dying today. due to COVID-19, due to many other diseases, due to wars and terrors, greed and arrogance, hatred and prejudice, and lack of knowledge and lack of rights. People are dying due to isolation, abuse, discrimination, oppression, and even unpredictable accidents. As we are seeing them, let's examine ourselves first, whether we turn our head away from them or not. Whether we turn our head away in front of someone else's crying and suffering. We need people who are committed to stopping these by standing by them and share life with them, share food with them, share love with them. And I believe we all can be one of those people. Amen.